για τη δική του παρουσίαση.
First of all, I would like to thank you very much for the invitation again in the 5th symposium. We had the pleasure to participate also last year. However, this year the conditions are different. We all share the public and international concerns regarding the COVID-19 crisis. But we are very, very happy to be here and to try to support also on our side such events to take place and to continue to take place also in the future. Most of the things that I would like to say are obvious, already stated by Mr. Yarendis, who is institutionally the proper person to illustrate to us the new transitional model, the new energy transition. And this is also one point that I would like also to mention in my presentation. The people in the market, like the businessmen and the companies that are involving in the developing, the construction and the maintenance sector in the renewable energy, are saying that there is a lot of hope and a lot of work to be done towards renewables, and there are very, very positive insights into the future of the renewable energy markets in general, globally, but also in particularly in Greece. However, all things should be put in place. There are challenges and thoughts, and due to the fact that the volume is big, we have to be prepared to face it, to face the new challenges. So, my presentation will be held in brief, just saying a few words for my company, of course, and then it will be illustrated into whether or not the EU is meeting its targets, how this affects and how this reflects to positive signals to the economy and to the players of the economy, like companies evolving in the renewable energy sector. What are these positive indicators and positive signals generally, and how they are being reflected into the Greek market, and some thoughts and concerns regarding the future. So, my company, ΣΠΥΡΟΠΟΥΛΟΣ SA, is active in 3 sectors: in the photovoltaic sector, in the construction sector, and also in the small wind turbine sector. In all the scope of the services, development, construction, EPC, and also maintenance. Company is really one of the pioneers in the sector of photovoltaic, already founded in 2004, and the owner of the company was also the first one to invest in solar in the Peloponnese area, where the company also is located and has its head offices. The company offers a complete turnkey solutions for EPC and BOP in photovoltaic plants, complete OEM services, and also it has also a sector of construction, renovation, and maintenance of commercial buildings in terms of energy efficiency, and also new buildings. So in its portfolio, already we have 100 megawatt of installed PV capacity in Greece, 200 megawatt under maintenance, 600 megawatt under non-electromechanical maintenance, and around 300 megawatt under development in the PV sector. The company is operating in 7 locations around Greece, as you can see in the map, employs around 130 people, and with its own fleet and its own equipment. We have throughout our business career, we have cooperations with very notable B2B clients, which few of them which you can see also in this slide. Now, leaving the corporate aside, as we can see, the EU has set some targets and also increased their targets. And what we can see is that we are, as a European Union, we are matching the targets. So we see that all the projections go in line to what it was predicted. Also, we see in the graph, in the gray area, that also Greece is following up to this, to meeting of the targets. And how could Greece not follow up, since Mr. Yaredis has also said that there is a lot of supply and the demand and the targets are being met. So there is a lot of things to be done. And as we can see, targets more or less are being met in terms of the average of the EU policies. However, the COVID crisis has affected severally also big countries, and as you can see in the graph, the COVID-19 crisis throughout March until May has set the scene differently in terms of the demand and the supply and the investments. But as we can see in the graph, we are steadily recovering, since we have to move on with our lives, and we have to move on and try to live with the virus and try to do our work in the best possible way. So the whole world is going through this direction. As you can see, the electricity demand, although we are still under crisis, is recovering. Still, electricity prices in the EU are still rising at a slow pace, which means that despite the fact that we had a drop throughout the COVID-19 crisis, overall it hasn't affected the trend that Europe is facing. In terms of electricity prices for household consumers in 2019, Greece has also made some reduction according to the Eurostat data for 2019, in the second half of 2019, which shows us how the supply and demand affects the price, but also probably how the competition works on reducing the prices. In general, there are some positive market indicators. However, these are for household indicators. The corresponding graph for non-household indicators has an increase. So the industry has faced some increase in the prices on average. So it's not always, the coin has two sides. We see that there are also some positive indicators and signals in photovoltaic and renewable energies in general. Based on the projections, the costs for renewables are is declining, is dropping, and this is actually a result of the supply and demand, and in the Greek market also, I could say also of the tendering process, which reduces prices, and so the projects have to be more competitive. So the price of the material has to drop, and the price of the labor has to drop. But in general, the whole spectrum of renewable energy sources tends to a reduction of initial costs. Plus, this was the slide that I had last year. The projection for increasing renewable energy capacity were promising. This was facts from 2015 and showed the projection of installing capacity in solar and wind in general. Based on the World Economic Energy Outlook of 2019 and 2020, this is now where we stand in the previous slide, and the actual in 2020 is far more optimistic than the one that was in 2015. If we follow the projections, solar, wind, and battery storage are increasing within the next 20 years. And there is a very, very promising field for all companies globally that are going to participate in these sectors. 2,500 gigawatt based on the IEA of solar increased capacity, in particular solar, in the next 20 years. So we have a lot to see. Carbon market prices, fourth signal of indication of moving into renewable energy. We've seen from 2019 to 2020 a trend of increasing in the European carbon market. What does it mean? This means that coal and other oil and other energy sources tend to be more expensive, have to be drawn out of the economy, of the global economy, and have to be replaced by renewable energy sources. And there, the carbon market and the green certificates will show us the way. It is an investment signal. It doesn't mean much the price, just the tendency. Now, in the Greek market, what we can see is a pattern. Following 2008, 2010. A pattern that seems to repeat itself between 2017 and 2019 and now 2020. However, we should not put this pattern into the same legs that we have put the previous pattern, which collapsed in 2013. It has to be stand into different fundamentals. Because as market and as a company that is participating in the market, we don't want to see another collapse in 3 years' time again. It will be a disaster for the economy. So, market key factors in brief. It is on the positive side is the implementation of the target model, aiming to reduce electricity prices for consumers, increased competition and lower bid prices based on the tender also processes that are still seem to be very successful until now. Regulating some incentives for small players and energy communities and small out-of-tender projects, increase interest in bigger projects and high-voltage substations, and increase interest from domestic and foreign investors since 2019. This is the market how we see it now. What we see on the negative side at the moment is saturation of the grids, which are raising concerns for medium to small scale investors, lack of materials, delays due to the COVID crisis generally in terms of delivery of materials, in prices of materials, raw materials, etc. And still huge delays in the development, despite the fact that there has been they have been regulated through 2020. Some steps are on the right direction. However, we are encountering still some delays. Of course, the target model for the renewable energy sector is here to stay. Is here to stay for the following years. Of course, we are moving to a more free market base. However, until we move to this free market base in terms of the investor side, which we see as a company developing and constructing photovoltaics, you have to have the target model running, looking at the data, analyzing the data, and in terms of a 2-year period, for example, or 3-year period, when we can see how this market operates, then the investors will be more easy for the investors to make their business cases and come to invest in the Greek market without any incentive, free. So I think there is still some time to keep this hybrid transition between the target model and the full-scale target model and the auctions. And the challenges, the opportunities are, of course, the participation into the PPAs and the OTC contracts, the intraday, the ahead market, and increased profits from the balancing market. But the challenges are the liquidity, the implementation of the platform for the Hellenic Exchange and the ADMIE, incentives for the participants for fair pricing, at least for the start, and proper market monitoring in terms of institutional monitoring of the proper regulation of the market, of this free market. This is one of I think it's one slide more. Thoughts and concerns. There is an increasing interest in investing versus the delays based on the licensing delays, based on the lack of personnel from the people who are managing all the applications in terms of the medium projects. There is still lack of investor information on local grid capacity. There is lack for material for grid expansion, and there is medium voltage grid saturation. These are the concerns versus to the interest. Increasing interest is also illustrated versus the increased guarantee cost compared to the other countries. If you compare the guarantee cost for solar in Spain, for example, you see huge differences. Still, the guarantee cost is very high for participating to the tenders, I mean, at the moment. Increasing concerns for the delays of the HEDNO, and we have to take into consideration the future push that the future delays that may take place, taking into account that the governmental policies which are on the right direction for building energy efficiency, who gives incentives for energy efficiency on buildings, which will increase the net metering projects throughout Greece, this will go again to HEDNO, which projects will be on the priority. Who is going to take care of these new additional applications? And what about all the applications that are still in place in the HEDNO's offices? These are concerns. Proper implementation of the target model and the full-scale target model, which is a target for all the market in order to see more decrease in consumer prices. So some suggestions already stated by Mr. Yarendis, the one-stop energy spot, some online information about current application per regions, increase the personnel dealing with the applications, support also ADMIE for the increased work that they may have because the medium voltage is going to push over to the high voltage. So more or less ADMIE will also feel the push of this new era. Electronic applications also for the HEDNO projects, reevaluate the comparative advantage of the country and try to lower the guarantees. And a view from the investor side is to try to keep auctions still valid until 2021 and try to do some differentiation in the categories. These are some suggestions that we have to put in place. And thank you very much for your time. This was the...
Thank you, Mr. Tomaras, for
Thank you very much.
Illustrative, actually, presentation, sharing your thoughts. Actually, I think that in general, these are the thoughts and the suggestions of the markets of any company. It seems that those both opportunities and challenges are affecting everyone. So thank you again. And this is a hybrid conference. So